Welcome to Native Bidaské, Native News Online's weekly spotlight on the people making news and leading change in Indian country.
Welcome to another episode of Native Bidaské. I'm Levi Rickert, your host. This month, we celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd. Our guest today, who is a high school senior, and I may add, an honor student, is Wambli Quintana. He's Navajo and Dakota. He, at an early age, became really interested in the environment. So we're going to talk to him about the environment today. Wambli serves as a 2024 Champions for Change Fellow at the Center for Native American Youth. That's located at the Aspen Center in Washington, D.C. He's a representative of a new generation, the next generation of American leaders, high school guy. Welcome to Native Bidaské, Wambli. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm doing fantastic today. It's
great.
An honor to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Hey, tell us how'd you get interested in the environment?
Well, I guess it kind of just runs, deep down in our culture. But as a young kid, before like the internet was super, super popular, I would always go outside, hang out with my cousins and my family. We'd play tag at night. We'd play manhunt, all that stuff. And, I kind of just came like more connected with my surrounding areas, and especially with the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe out here. It truly is beautiful, especially during the summers when you get to see all the grass and the crops that are grown. When the wind hits just right, it looks like the ocean, kind of just very beautiful and very calming. Along with just how my grandma and my elders have kind of taught me like how we're all connected with each other, but also connected to the land. So I had a deep appreciation towards, the place where I stand and the place where I sleep. And I owe great thanks to, just the land allowing me to be here and being indiscriminate towards everyone who, lives on it.
Well, that's a great answer, and I have to tell you that's for a young guy. You're a senior in high school. You have a really good depth of knowledge on it. So thank you for that. Hey, how are you working to bring about positive change? Now I understand you were involved with the Cheyenne River Youth Program, and I know Julie and the director. And so tell us about your experience there.
Oh my gosh. So it all happened relatively recently. So last year, I got introduced towards the Cheyenne River Youth Project from my younger sister. She did a couple internships with the program, and she was telling me how it was a great way to learn some things and make some money. So I, asked why not. But before that, my grandma showed me this men's mental, health class that they were having. So I went to that and I met the arts program manager, Wakia Luke Chief. And we just had some really good conversations about like mental health and our kids on our reservation. And from there, kind of just springed into like a very fruitful conversation about what's next towards our generation. And from that conversation, my sister was telling me about the program. So I applied to be an intern over there for their, I think it was their health one. So they have a lot of programs that they do
Yes.
for the youth. They have arts, they got physical health, and so much more. Lakota culture, food sovereignty. In the summers, they have garden internship. But so I signed up for the health one, and when I got accepted, they also had me come in for an in-person interview, and from there they showed me like how the program would work and stuff like that. But they also asked me if I wanted to be on their youth advisory council board. And it's kind of a shock to me because I wasn't really too involved with it, but apparently from the conversation that we had with Wakia, he saw pretty good leadership skills within me, and he wanted to help develop that more. And I got into the program a lot more when we had our kind of like induction towards the Youth Advisory Council Board. I met Julie Garrow there. I remember she was sitting in the corner kind of watching the whole thing. And, my grandma taught me to always introduce myself to the elders that are present in events and stuff like that. So I went over and, I went to Julie. and I kind of shook her hand, and I made sure to make some friendly greetings and offering thanks to her allowing me to be there. And I guess from there, it kind of just kicked off into an amazing year. We went to Washington, D.C. last year for the National Congress of American Indians, but to also witness last year's Champions for Change. And it's kind of like a full circle moment that this year I get to be a Champions for Change after just, recently visiting it last year. Julie Guerra has been such a great inspiration to me. She does a lot of great work for the youth, and just like how she does work for the youth, I too was inspired to do, work that could secure our future for not just the youth of now, but the future youth and future generations to come. Um, yeah, and yeah, a lot from the Cheyenne River Youth Project came just like lots of learning experience, and all the staff there are like family to me. Is a very great program. I'm very super, thankful to be there.
If you don't mind me asking, how often would you say you were there at the youth center, the youth project? 2 or 3 times a week, once a week, or how often?
It started off with just like every day, for the internship. I kind of just went there once a day. But when I was really young, about like I think 7 years old, I used to be involved with their main youth program. And it's kind of cool because I remember when I was a younger person, they had some people from Germany that were helping out with the main youth center, and I remember going there and they were holding like a racing event. So we went around, and me and a couple of my cousins and some of my family members, we went to their event where they were giving out so much stuff, like gift cards, baskets, and all that sort of good stuff that our parents would want us to get. So we went over and we participated. I remember just from that moment, I was like, wow, this is really fun. I'm really grateful for this existing in our community, because especially in rural communities, like rural Native American communities, you'll get not a lot of great opportunities to bring family together and the overall tribe together. And that's kind of a great way to bring our youth together with the Cheyenne River Youth Projects, events and stuff like that. So, and now today I work for them, so I'm very thankful for that. So I go over once a day at least
All
during the
right.
weekdays. Recently they had their Passion for Fashion event. I unfortunately missed that, but it said that they had a great turnout. There was a lot more girls that came up and two-spirited fellows that showed up and kind of participated with the event. A lot more than what they planned for, but that's a good thing because we're serving more Native youth and just youth in our community. So that was awesome to hear. And Julie, I know Julie was really happy to see so many youth show up. So it was a great plus, and I'm very thankful, very thankful for everyone that helps out and chips in for that.
Yeah, the Native News Online has done a lot of stories through the years on the Cheyenne River Youth Project, and she's an award-winning director. She's really does a great job, and I really do. You mentioned that pageant. It's what is it? It's the one where the young ladies, the high schoolers, they get dressed up in prom dresses, right? And they get makeup on, and
Yeah.
people really work with them and show them how to be young ladies. And I just love that whole project that Julie. I don't know if she originated or who did, but that's a great thing, and that's keep working hard for those youth. Hey, tell me this: how do you apply your environmental concerns with the youth there at Cheyenne River? Are you able to just really talk to them about the environment, and are there programs or what?
Yeah, so I'm great that you mentioned that. So recently, just a few days ago, I got in contact with some people I went to a Pioneers conference in Berkeley, California just recently.
It was just last
Um,
week, wasn't it?
yeah, just a few days ago. So I think yesterday I was in I was still in San Francisco at the airport, and I'm glad to be back today. But yeah, just over the past couple of days I was in Berkeley, California, talking about a lot of great things over there. Luckily, I didn't have to speak. I actually got to be a participant within the crowd, so it's really nice to kind of absorb all the information that they gave me and all the great speakers that were up there. And the conference is mainly focused on environmental issues and environmental solutions. So it's really amazing to see some like-minded individuals, but also the sheer amount of Native American representation there. There was a whole bunch of indigenous leaders, indigenous youth there too, that were speaking out about these, major crises that they're facing. A lot of them had to talk about what's going on their land, but not only were they talking about it, but they actually, had solutions towards it. So it was very awesome to see their solutions being implemented and just seeing how far we could get with our indigenous knowledge. One of the big things they're pitching is indigenous knowledge is science, and it's kind of just like an amazing thing to just hear. Um, so with
It's
the
about time. It's about
Yeah, I
time.
know, right? I mean, we've been
Indigenous
here for
knowledge and science. That's wonderful. Hey, by the way, did you happen to see Oren Lyons there, the faith
oh,
keeper Onondaga? He's
yeah. I think
yeah,
I did. He was one of the speakers there. He was amazing.
yes.
It was just so cool to hear from him. I think later that second to last day, they were having a kind of like a private little honoring ceremony, and he was also honored there too. And it was just amazing to just like hear and talk, hear him talk and speak. Very inspirational person to hear from.
He and I have been friends for 30 years, and what a just inspiring man. He's just he's just a great man. So yeah, that was a treat for you, brother. I hope you know that. So,
Yeah, really awesome. I'm always so thankful to get to hear from our elders and having the privilege to hear their wisdom being passed down upon me. Very good thing to uphold.
well,
Oh
Wambli,
yes, uh,
as a champion change fellow, how do you get this message out across Indian countries to the youth across Indian country about the environment and climate change and how we really need to do something about it?
yeah. So one of the big things that they're trying to push out, especially when getting in contact with our native youth, is kind of having a more social media presence and kind of pushing it out there. Also, just like holding events in your local centers to more promote that. So as I was gonna say earlier, so recently I got some course material to help promote that. The climate justice within our communities, and it's really focused on indigenous knowledge. So I have that source material. I was very lucky they gave it to me. They had a whole book and stuff, and they thought it was really important. So they signed the book and gave it to me and made sure I bring it back. So with that, I know Julie, she wants to have some more classes that promotes this type of stuff and helps our Native youth learn about the current issues. So I'm planning to present it to her, and hopefully we can get some classes started or a little like event started for the youth to learn about climate action within our community. And that's thanks to just to the sheer amount of wealth of knowledge that I got from the Pioneers Conference and the previous conferences with the Aspen Center.
That's great. You're getting some really good background and foundation. You're building a nice foundation at a young age. Wonderful. Hey, tell me this: what are Native youth actually saying about the climate when you walk up to them and talk to them about the environment or climate change? Do they believe you? Do they trust you? Tell me, what are the youth saying about it?
So from all the youth that I've met, it's mostly been through these types of conferences and at my high school as well. But one of the big things is about, my generation is how, prevalent we are within the spaces of climate work. I've met so many amazing Indigenous youth and just youth in general that actually work on these projects and have to say some major things about it. I doesn't do them any justice, but I remember meeting them and they were talking about how they protect their fish and how important it is to kind of maintain their land and get back their land. And they did some amazing work. They're writing policies at such a young age. They're like I
Wow,
think 16 through 18. So it is amazing
that's
to see
impressive.
how. Yeah, it really is. So I really am happy to like get in contact with them and try to keep up, the relationship and a connection established so we could promote that work within Indian country as a whole. So I'm just really am happy to see the amount of like knowledge that our youth have. And when it comes to like, presenting the idea of climate change to our youth, especially Native youth, it's more of accepting, and they already know that, because we are very aware of the current situations from the wars across the sea to the amount of social injustices that we faced in America currently. There's many things that our youth are very advocate about, and something that I'm very happy to see that, as this youth comes about to our newer age and as our elders start to retire, we are more, prevalent within these social justice and climate change justice. Uh, Areas, and it is really beautiful to see that. Yeah, so it's kind of where we're at right now with the youth.
Yeah.
They know what's going on and they want to do something about it. Now it's just up for our older people, our parents, and the people in that sort of area to start acting with us and to work together towards these better solutions.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that. It's going to take, as they say, it takes a village, but it's going to take our community, tribal communities, and non-tribal communities to really do something. We got a serious problem going now with the climate, as you well know. Hey, last month you were down in Miami, I understand, and you had you attended. You already mentioned it, but the Aspen Ideas Climate event down in Miami, and you had a very special guest who you were able to ask some questions. You actually asked two, and I watched the interview, and that's Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland, who's Laguna Pueblo, as you know. Hey, tell us about that experience. That must have been pretty awesome for you.
Yeah, so it really was great. I was kind of just looking forward to that for the, when I was introduced to the opportunity to talk with her, I was excited up until the day it came, and hey, that excitement just turned into sheer joy to actually be up there, especially with my fellow youth, Talia. She was amazing just getting to talk to her behind the stage, and even just a little bit before we actually did the whole thing on the presentation. It was amazing to share some, contact info with her and just to, talk about the current solutions that are being put up there and the current problems that we're facing. So I really do love talking to youth that are, really prevalent within these spaces. But talking to Deb Holland, that was amazing to experience. I talked to
Be
her
truthful. Hey,
previously.
Brown Wambli, be truthful. Did she make you just a little nervous?
Um, Not really. She made me very happy. Like for me, whenever I get nervous, I turn that into excitement, and then from there, it just goes into just sheer joy. I think you could even see on stage me smiling a lot. I was trying to keep a straight face the whole time, but whenever she started talking and Talia started talking, I just like started smiling the whole time, and I don't know. It's hard for me to just contain my sheer joy to hear like Native youth speaking in front of these people and these change makers, especially to the older people, because they get to see how much we know about the current problems that are going on right now. Um, and it was amazing to have that facilitated, especially with Secretary Deb Holland. She's always great to talk to, and she's like one of my grandmas now. She's family to me now, and she's just an amazing and prominent figure within our Indigenous community. And so is Talia. I consider her family now. She
That's
just
great.
has so many amazing things to talk about. And then, yeah, I was just happy during the whole time.
Now she, every time I'm around her, you really get the sense she has a lot of passion and she really cares about the subject she talks about. Did you get that same feeling when you talked to her?
Yeah, I definitely did. So, behind the stage, we were prepping towards to go up on stage, and we had a really sincere and deep conversation that kind of just like lasted through the whole thing with me, Talia, and Deb Holland. It was just amazing that we got to talk more further into depth within these questions, because not every question was asked on the stage, and not everything was able to be answered with a whole amount. But backstage, we got all the answers we wanted, and it was just amazing getting to talk to her because she was very down to earth and a very just a wise elder to get to share a space with, especially with my other youth, Talia. She was also very smart and very wise.
What was one of the things you were able to ask her, and then what did she tell you? What's a big takeaway from that experience?
So one of the questions that I asked her was sort of like how, like as in my community, can we start doing more work towards, facing climate change and how we can get to a more sustainable future for our future youth and stuff like that. So the way she went and answered it was she talked about the funding programs and the learning programs that they had available with the Department of Interior, and sort of just like trying to get our tribes to reach out to our native youth along with working alongside our youth, because our youth have a lot of information that simply our older generations can't see. And especially in my culture, our youth are sacred. They're considered the most sacred beings because of how close they are with the spirit world, and just having that sacredness and that sheer amount of just different input that our youth have, and the way they see the world. Because we know the younger they are, the more of a holistic view they have on the world, and they're not so pessimistic. They're more of a like an optimistic mindset, because they see everything for the first time, they experience everything for the first time, and from there you can see they have some deep appreciation that they're on this earth. And as we get older, we tend to lose touch with that. So it's good to work alongside our youth that have that fresh perspective. And that's just one of the things that Deb was talking about, just how impactful our Native youth can be.
That is great. And yeah, I like what you said about youth. They close to the spirit world, and they are sacred. It's very sacred. So keep doing what you're doing. Now, I understand you're really close to your grandmother. She has had great influence on your life. Tell us about that experience. How has she influenced your life?
Yeah, so at a young age, my parents, unfortunate events happened, and it kind of just led to my grandparents raising me. So when I moved back from my dad's side, I moved back to my mom's side of the family, and from there, my grandma and my grandpa took care of me. And just a little before the pandemic, or they took care of me. They're amazing, and they just like showed me so much love and compassion. And even though I'm not their kid themselves, and I'm their grandkid, they still love me like a son, and I'm forever thankful for that. And it's just amazing that they were able to raise me, because I got to learn so much information and kind of got a head start of where everyone else is. One of the big things that I always hear all the time is just like, I'm so mature for my age, but I owe that maturity and that wealth of knowledge to my grandparents, because they were the ones who taught me lessons that go with me to this day. And sort of just like during just a little before the pandemic, my grandpa was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and that kind of just took a hold of him very quick. It was very sad to see him kind of pass away, because he was the major support of my family, and he kept everything together. And just at the peak of in March, whenever the pandemic was getting really really up there and really public, he passed away. So it was really a hard time that we faced. My grandma couldn't properly grieve because the amount of restrictions and protocols they had during the COVID-19 pandemic. It wouldn't allow us to properly grieve. Everything was rushed so quick. And only so many people could be at his funeral event and actually got to see him before he passed because of those restrictions. So when he passed away, we lost a part of ourselves, and with that, we also lost a part of making sense. We made a lot of irrational choices when it came to the amount of insurance money that came back. We had some irrational choices, and we kind of just spiraled because we weren't able to properly grieve his loss. And I remember just sort of when the bad choices were catching up to us. My grandma was, she showed me love. She never told me like we were in debt or anything like that. She never really put it out there, but eventually she needed someone to put her shoulder upon, and I really am thankful that she had the trust in me to kind of just be honest and truthful. So she told me how things were, and just like how real things were. And from there, I wanted to help her out. So I took in personal finance and financing solutions and stuff like that. And I just took just so much time to try and learn as much as I can to help my family get out of that hole. And now we're doing a lot better. But my grandma, she loves me, and she really does take care of me. Every time I come back from a trip, she makes sure she waits there and waits till I walk into the door, and she always greets me, and she says how how proud of she is of me, and I always am just thankful for that. And it kind of just makes this all worth it. Just like how my grandma showed me a lot of love and nurtured me, so has Grandmother Earth. And Unchi Maka is what we call her in our language in Lakota, and that means Grandmother Earth. And just like how, like I was saying, my grandma showed me that love and that nurtured me, so has the earth. So just like how I want to give back to my grandma, I want to give back to the earth as well.
Wambli, how old are you?
I'm currently 18, a senior in high school.
Wow. You are an amazing 18-year-old. And thank you for sharing that real personal side of what happened with your family. And my condolences. And take care of your grandma. I mean, that is just a wonderful relationship you have, and it's very precious. So thank you. Hey, anything else you want to say before we end this? I know you're still in high school. You got to get to your studies. So we'll call this come to an end. But hey, I'm inviting you back. Anytime you have a message you want out there for Native youth, you get a hold of us and we'll get you back on Native Bidaské. I love your spirit and in who you are as an 18-year-old kid. And I say that kindly. I call you a kid, but young man. Yeah. Anything else? What do you want to say to the viewers?
Just thank you for listening, and thank you to the viewers that actually get to listen to this. Everyone plays a part when it comes to creating a better future, and you right now and the viewers listening and watching, they're also playing their part by getting to listen to our Native youth. Kind of one of the big things I just want to put out there is whenever you get the chance to talk to a Native youth, please do talk to them, especially to our elders. Whenever you get to sit down and get to talk to them, it's just an amazing and a very sacred connection that you get to have. So make sure to appreciate our youth and our elders just as they should be, and just overall just have gratitude towards the land that you stand on. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for coming on Native Bidaské Chimigwich. And to our viewers, we've been talking to Wambli Quintana, who is a 18-year-old bright, up and coming youth, talking about the environment. So take care of Mother Earth. And as I tell you all the time, take care of your elders. And he takes care of his grandmother. Give your grandparents hugs. They are your love. They're your strength. So Chimigwich, tune in again next week for another edition of Native Bidaské. Chimigwich.
If you appreciate what we do here at Native News Online, we invite you to donate to support our continued work covering Indian country. You can scan this code with your smartphone or go to the link located below this video to donate today. We greatly appreciate your support. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And be sure to scan this code or go to the link below to subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you for joining us today, and please be sure to join us again next week for another episode of Native Bidaské. Chimigwich.